Remembering those who helped shape the lore in a Biloxi neighborhood.
This week, 2 new benches were added to the main playground area at Miramar Park just off the beach. One bench was dedicated to Mac Snyder, who recently passed away after a long battle with cancer. The other one is in honor of the many area residents who grew up playing and holding events at the park over the years. Mac's grandfather is Don Snyder Sr., who was the longtime city recreation director who lived near Miramar Park.